And I'll wax it.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? Monday again. Who cares?
I do.
Yeah, I think Scott does as well. It's his first day back after being sick, and I think he's had a bit of a morning already. So, anyway, guys, thanks for coming along. I've been racking my brains on what to turn the day, and I finally come up with. Well, as you can see, Deal's in the background. He's going to be doing the chat for me. I will just go on to the main screen, and we'll go to overhead. And this is what we're going to be doing. It's a piece of ash. It's highly figured. There's loads of ripple in there. There's a few cracks and things, but it's a demo piece, so I'm not really concerned about that. And we're going to do another small hollow form. So I'll just get me tool rest set up, and we'll get started. Let's get the big one on to start off with. So it's around about 5 inches, or it'll end up around about 5 inches in diameter, and at the moment it's about 3 inches deep. That may well change. Now the grain on this is going everywhere, so I'm going to use my 3/8 bowl gouge to get it into round. I'm turning at just under 1500 revs a minute. So here we go.
So out in the chat, we have Tommy Dunn.
Hi, Tommy.
Damo, Richard Phelan, Scott's dad, Keith, Brian Anderson, Ian Robbo Robinson, Dr. Bob, Wivey Wood, Shed, Colin Roberts, Basher, Mark the Gentleman Woodturner, Ellen, Stephen Young, and I think that's certainly everybody here. Let me go and check the old tubes, see if there's more over there.
First Steve of many.
Yes.
Did you say Keith was in? Yeah, certainly looked like Keith. Yeah. Parcel arrived this morning, Keith. Thank you very much. Let's see how we're getting on with this. Still a wee bit weird.
We have Rubber Dub out in the chat. Good turning by Blair.
Hey, Blair.
Around 30 watching.
Grand.
Keith says, thanks, Wayne. Hope you can make use of it.
Oh, I certainly will. I've got a few jobs to be getting on with for her indoors the rest of the week. And then I'm going to get some scrap wood to practice doing some thread chasing on. And then maybe in a couple of weeks I'll do a live. I've been watching lots of videos on thread chasing, so hopefully I can get something done.
Henry Morgan is in the chat.
Good afternoon, Henry. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask, but please put a type question in before you ask the question. sized up for
Mike
the motors.
Favager is in too.
Hey, Mike. Oh, got a decent pencil anyway. Oh, I've got the wrong centre in my tube. It would be the centre that isn't, or doesn't knock itself out when you wind it in. Right, just bring that up, bring the speed sizer up.
Circular Wood by Keith Wayne. Your mic is quiet, but the lathe noise is picking up very well.
Oh, right.
I find your mic okay while you're leaning in, mate. It's only when the lathe's running. The lathe's very loud. But
oh, right, because I'm sure I'll have a quick check because I'm sure I'm on my headphones mic.
Yeah, does sound like you're very, very right. It does sound like you're really up close.
Right.
Mr. Senior's in the chat. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, Mr. Senior.
I'm going to have to stay with it because this is the mic that I usually use. I don't use any of the camera ones.
That's fine. We have Doug Miller in the chat too.
Hi, Doug.
Steve Ellis, hello folks. Hi Wayne, sorry late, the nurse just departed. Now I want to build an entire story around what's just happened, Steve, but I suspect it's more, I suspect I should probably withhold that since it's lunchtime. Dr. Bob is asking, question, lathe sized?
Lathe size, right.
Yeah.
This is a 1628, so it's got a 16-inch swing over the bed bars. I think on this one, I've got the extension bed on this, so I think I can get around about a metre in length between centres on this. It's a 2 horsepower motor, electronic speed control with 2 ranges. It goes from 50 up to 1250, and it goes from 150 through to 3,750. Made by Axminster, although I don't know, probably not made by Axminster, but certainly it's an Axminster lathe over here in the UK.
Steve Ellis says the individual was a team owner. Steve, I hope it all goes well. Glenn Senior refers to the your lathe as nothing more than a pen turning lathe.
Yes, but I have got another one, Glenn, as well, you know.
and that's a bowl lathe. And Paul Lockwood offers that it's now called the Axminster AT406WL.
Yeah, they've changed it to millimetres. Because Paul has just got himself one.
Has he?
Yep,
lucky so-and-so. I don't have the space for that beastie. What is suggesting that he was just teasing? 40 watching.
And I'm just going to give this a quick start. Oh, that's better.
Young Glenn says the next batch is ready. He'll see us shortly. Steve Ellis says, and I might be paraphrasing him a tiny bit, he says, the sound of a Pro Edge.
I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's showing up in the camera, but the figuring in this.
It looks really nice. There's a little bit of a washout, but it's really nice.
Yeah, I can't understand that because I haven't got any of the spots on or anything. It's only the strip lights that I've got on.
Yeah. One of the reasons for getting kind of the as much reflectivity as you can is it means that the camera's CCD sensor picks it up better, so there's more light hitting the whole object rather than just at one point.
Right.
Hence why I ask everyone to peggle those against the wall. Why painting the wall white gives that reflection. You can pull the same thing off without a light behind you. Steve Ellis is correcting me. He said the dulcet tones of a Pro Edge. How he would have said it. I feel Brian Blessed kind of thing coming on. Yeah, the dulcet. Fingers McLaren is in the chat. Hi, Fingers.
Hey, David.
Paul Lockwood says suggesting you get the camera some sunglasses.
I actually, I thought it was a bit washed out earlier, so I had to play with the settings on the camera and darkened it down a bit.
It definitely has helped. You can see the figuring under more circumstances. It's just the direct light, the direct path of the light from the light above your head that's picking it out a little bit. Perhaps a reflector. That's what young Andy has to do. He has to put a piece of something up. A Polaroid filter might help. Absolutely true.
Just get the inside of the mortise cleaned out or sanded.
14 watching, 15 thumbs up. Come on, folks, if you like what Wayne's doing, please hit the thumbs up.
Just going to take a little bit more off here.
Baza is in the chat.
Barry! I missed your bloody premiere yesterday. I didn't get any notification.
And young Steve Ash is in the chat.
Hi, Steve.
We're beginning to have too many Steves now.
Yeah, again. Just the usual.
So I'm going to ask a question. How many Stevens and how many Stephens? Just an important point. I feel there might be some Stephs masquerading as Steves. I don't know. Just a hunch. Steve Ash is a Stephen. Jasper Rooney.
Quicksand,
Stevens.
starting at 120.
I've set the cat amongst the pigeons here. There's a number of Steffens and a number of Stevens. And some friends feel quite strongly about the fact. And some of the Steffens refer to themselves as the posh version.
Looks like that Standing Harbour's buggered off into an alternate universe somewhere.
Along with all the Steves, they're affecting the space-time continuum.
It's chucking it down outside.
Is it? We have the sun out down here. It's beautiful.
Had a thunderstorm yesterday and knocked my power out. When I was...
You don't have a battery in your solar, do you?
No.
Steve Ellis is feeling quite passionate about this. He says pH is indeed posh and historical too, not to mention biblical.
Right, there's a big crack over here, but like I say, this is a demo piece, so I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm not going to do anything with it. Now, as you can see, the figuring in this is absolutely beautiful. And the decision is, do I try and enhance that by giving it some colour? Or do I leave it?
See, it looks really nice. I reckon it would come up with just some oil or some wax. It looks really nice from here.
Right. I did go to...
Baza says burn it. I think he's mental though.
Yeah, I've noticed that from the brow.
Steve Ashes says just paint it with black gloss, a nice thick coat. Mark the Gentleman Woodturner is suggesting that some axe would bring that out lovely.
Mark. Such a bloody stirrer. I don't know why I shook that, it's empty. Just put an order in the chestnut.
And Baza says, haha, you love a brow.
When's your birthday, Baza? I think we'll get you buy you a phone stand. I think we'll all chip in and buy you a phone stand. That's looking even nicer now.
Lovely. Absolutely lovely.
If I was going to colour it, I was just going to use some blue intrinsic colour with an airbrush to colour it, but we'll leave it.
Keith is suggesting leave it.
Yeah, I think that's the way we're going, Keith.
Colin Roberts is saying, sorry Colin, I never saw you come in. Lovely grain pattern. What wood is that, Wayne?
It's ash. It's a piece of olive ash. This is. So that's why this particular part of it is very brown. It's called olive ash because it does resemble olive wood. And now we'll move on to the old Yorkshire grit. At least I'll not be getting the sack today.
No P45. See, that's why subconsciously you chose that piece of wood, so you didn't get the sack today.
Yeah, I think I did.
Steve Ellis is suggesting maybe some gold embellishing wax, if anything.
I don't know the gold embellishing wax, because of the colour of the wood. I don't actually think it would pick it up very good, Steve. If I was to use any embellishing wax on this, which I'm not going to, I've got to say, but if I was to use any on this, it would probably be either. What have I got here? It would probably be the electric blue or purple. That's probably what I would use. So I'll turn that right down. So I'm running at about 250 now, just working the grit in. And as I'm working it in, it's slowly breaking down and becoming finer and finer. And the other good thing about using Yorkshire grit is that you only need to sand to 240. Yes, I sanded to 400 because I did think about colouring it. But you only need to sand to 240. You don't have to use any of the fine sandpapers, 320, 400, 600, stuff like this. They're the ones that produce the really fine particles of dust, which are really bad for you. So when you're using Yorkshire grit, you're not producing any dust. It's basically wet sanding. And by the time the Yorkshire grit has done its work, you'll end up with the equivalent grit of 1,000 using the ordinary Yorkshire grit. If you go on then and use the Yorkshire grit microfine, which is in the white tub, Glyn developed that especially for using on acrylics and things like this and resins. That'll take it from the 1,000 of the original Yorkshire grit, and it'll take it up over 2,000, an equivalent grit of over 2,000 using the microfine.
Out in the chat, we have some comments. Mark, the gentleman woodtunner, is saying Yorkshire grit, Yorkshire grit, Yorkshire grit. Steve Ellis says no problem. You can see it better than anyone else. And Rubber Dub is saying, "Stay away from electric blue, Wayne." I feel he may be reaching for a different electric blue.
There we go. That's the Yorkshire grit done. And I'm just going to finish this off with. In fact, I might.
Robert Dolman's in the chat. Sorry.
Who was that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, mate. You go first. It was Robert Dolman's in the chat.
Right. Hi, Robert. I'm going to put two waxes on this. I'm going to start off with Wood Wax 22 from Chestnut Products as a base.
So my apologies. It's actually Robert Dolman and his wife Karen are watching on the big TV.
Thank you very much. I'll make sure I don't show my face, seeing as how you're on the big TV.
And Peter Fuller is joining you from Lincolnshire.
Hiya, Peter. Anybody heard from Twisted Trees recently? He hasn't been in for a few days.
Not seen him anywhere for the last few days. Hope he's okay. My Camvac last night managed to burst its bag again.
Oh, very good.
It's just too strong. I'll need to put some kind of pressure release valve somewhere in the system, just to give it something to draw on. Changing all the filter. I used to have this problem when I first got it, but I changed all of the filters the other week, and it's now back to as good as new.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling all 3 horsepower, shall we say, on a little plastic bag.
Has that got 2 motors or just the one motor?
It does. It's got 2 motors, so.
Right. Can they be run independently?
can, but you've got to do it with a switch on the top. There's no way to control it. You've got to kind of go all the way to the actual CANVAC, turn them on and off. So that's how. No, so you're in the same territory as me for how I compensate for it. Sometimes the big draw is really what you want on a 100-inch. Like underneath the lathe, when I was doing some stuff on it yesterday, what I want is the draw at the bottom to pull all the dust down and pull all the debris down and pull it along. You don't want that when you're running the cleaning up hose. All that happens there is that it goes the bag. Too many horses, sir. Too many horses.
Right, so what I've done, I've used the Woodwax 22 as the base coat, if you like, of the finish, and I'm using the chestnut microcrystalline wax as the finish coat. And the reason I'm using microcrystalline wax is because it's a hard wearing wax and it tends not to show fingerprints when pieces are handled a lot.
Out in the chat we have Mike, the Midnight Joker, and Red Eye Dave.
Hi Mike. Hi Dave.
Dave is inquiring. Hi all, missed the start. What's the wood?
It's olive ash, Dave, which is why it's got all the beautiful figuring in there. So I think you can see the figuring better now. So that's what, and it's got some beautiful ripple around this area as well. Really nice piece. And just take my screw chuck out. Pop that away. And I'm going to change chucks. Yeah, that's running fine. And make sure everything's tightened down using all three tightening points. And then we'll start hollowing it out. And let's see if I can, if this other camera will pick it up better. That looking okay?
Looks fine, bud. Really good.
Grant? I'll just get the top straightened off.
Oh, Lockwood telling us he's loving his Cyclone system now. Young Stephen Young is saying very nice. Blair saying wow. Richard Phelan saying olive ash, red eye.
Right, so what I'll do now, I'll just get a drill. I'll get the chuck, get a drill, and I'll just take out the centre. Ah, there's the sanding pad. It's in the Jacob stuff. Need the bloody pliers again to loosen this Jacob stuff. I must have more strength than I thought. Drill, which drill am I going to use? That one. Right, so I'll just get a depth on here of how far I want to go. Turn the speed down. I'm going to be turning this. Well, I've got it at just about 400 there.
Oh, there's that lovely noise.
Yeah, I know. Even better when it's
I really like the shape of it. I must have a go with it. When you're hollowing out this one, is it just you're just going to use a gouge, or you're going to use a hollowing tool?
I'm going to use mainly a gouge because it's more of a closed form rather than a hollow form. If I'd been doing a proper hollow form, I probably would have had an opening that sort of size. But I'm going to keep the opening this sort of size.
Okay.
So I'll probably be using a gouge there the majority of the time, I would say.
Steve Ash is asking a question. When using a Forstner bit, is it okay to go straight in at 50 mil, or is it better to work up like 10, 25, 50?
If you're doing something the size of 50 mil, if it was in a drill press 50 mil, I'd be going straight in. Working on the lathe, you'd be safer, I think, building up. The biggest Forstner bit I go straight in with is mind you saying that. The biggest one I go straight in was 47 mil anyway, so so are you not far off 50 of that?
I've got a 90, and I've never found a practical use for
it. Wine bottle holders.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
I did have a drill that sort of size purely for doing wine bottle holders, but I don't know where it is now. Right, that's us back up at just over 1400 again. Now you can do the undercut with the gouge as well, using it as a scraper. I'm going to turn the speed down because if I do get a catch, I don't really get a catch at 1400. And what you do is, right, I've got the flute there, and that's at 12 o'clock, the flute. If I turn it upside down, it's obvious it's 6 o'clock. If I introduce the tool to the wood like that, no harm, because you're actually just hitting the non-cutting side of the bevel, and you can start turning your tool until it gets to around about 8 o'clock, and then you're starting to cut. That's starting to cut there very slightly, and you can actually use it as a scraper, and you can use the top side. You can use the top side of the bevel there as a depth. What's the word I'm looking for? A depth gauge, if you like.
Tim Halcombe is out in the chat. He's coming at us from East Central Indiana.
Oh yeah.
Young Mike, the Midnight Joker, says he disagrees with that. It's really, really difficult to start with a large Forstner bit over a small hole, but it is better to use a pilot hole. Ian Robertson says, yeah, I have a 100mm custom-made bit for drilling posts to go over steel posts.
Very good.
Doug Miller simply says, Tim.
I'll probably
46 watching.
Not very good. I'll probably use my small Simon Hope hollowing tool. It's a carbide. Just bring the tool rest up a bit. It's set up so it's the cutter is angled at 45 degrees. It's a cupped carbide cutter.
What do you mean by cupped?
Right, most carbide cutters are flat across the top.
Uh-huh.
So this one's actually cupped. So it goes... Okay. I think I need to turn the cutter around a bit. I think this one's getting a bit blunt.
I've been told you can freshen a carbide cutter by giving it a quick rub with a diamond paddle.
Yeah, the flat ones you can get a quick sharpening with a diamond stone, and if you've got any, use some lapping fluid as well. Because that helps. Ian
Robinson says, I am with you, MJ. Start big and work down with Forstners. Start small and go up with twist drills. Baza offers this insight. Oh, yeah. Mike, the Midnight Joker, is asking, what drill do you use with that 100mm bit? Sounds like a hold-on tight drill. I'm using a big Titan 2.5 kilo job for that.
I'd be putting it in the drill press, to tell you the truth, and making sure whatever that I was drilling was well clamped down. That's not liking that very much. I think I need to order some new tips from Simon.
Mark has made an observation. Surely, if you start big with a Forstner, then work your way down, you're drilling air.
I would have said so.
Interestingly, for this angle, the shape of your chuck and the shape of the bottom of the bow appear to be almost the same from this angle.
Now for hollowing, you don't have to use carbides. You can use the gouge the whole way if you like. Or you can use high-speed steel.
Wivey Woodshed suggested stepped holes. And at that point, I feel we have unified both halves of this conversation. Thanks for that, Wivey.
What other bits have I got in here? What we could use? Bear with me a couple of seconds. What's up the time we on, deal?
You're at 1:42, sir.
Okay. It shouldn't take too much longer to get this hollowed out.
Conversation continues. Ian Robin says, we use a sliding table on the lathe and strap the post on and drive the drill with the headstock. Mike, the Midnight Joker, says, no, Mark, you drill a counterbore large part way down, then a smaller bore further in. If you don't do it that way, the bore will not be central. And Baza simply says, dropping another video today, a video from the day job. Aren't you like a smuggler? Something like, sort of like a Kentish Han Solo. Only not so much the Millennium Falcon, more as the Wet Sparrow dinghy.
Right, so I'm going to use a different hollower now. This is a Robert Sorby hollower. It's using high-speed steel cutters.
Looks like you're assembling a rifle. Just saying.
Just making the handle longer. So whenever you are using scrapers, always have the tool rest above centre. You don't want to have the handle down when you're using scrapers. Otherwise it'll dig in, get a catch, and it'll flick you up like that. So you always want to have the handle pointing down. Now this particular tool does have a flat on the bottom for going onto the tool rest. But it's obviously, you can put different things in here. So there's that bit there that is sticking up. So you need to have your tool rest far enough back so you can actually get in.
Out in the chat, Barry has responded with shh. Here, Robert Robertson has said, right on midnight about the drilling. Mark the Gentleman Woodturner says, in relation to Baza, I thought he was a baguette selling onion smuggler. Baza says, don't forget the garlic, Mark. Sharon Lindley is in the chat.
Hey, Sharon. This is the tool I was given by David McClernand.
Sharon says, hello Wayne, have you decided what you're making yet?
Yeah, it's just a small closed form, hollow form, whatever you want to call it. Now, if I wasn't doing this on camera, probably what I would do, because this lathe's got a swivel head, I would probably swivel the head around to make it easier access for me.
Colin Roberts says, cool bit of kit. Daza says, David gave you his tool with various smileys after it. And Mike the Midnight Joker says, I still drill the bore first, sometimes by mistake, Robbo. Mark the Gentleman Woodson says, I forget the headstock on my lathe swells. Almost says he can relate to the fact that Mike sometimes forget, still drills the bores first, sometimes by mistake.
It's nearly down to the depth I'm wanting, so I'm just going to start clearing some from the side. And remember, whenever you're doing these things, you don't want to have the inside diameter larger than the outside diameter.
Then it becomes either a TARDIS bowl or a windowed bowl. Or possibly a very exciting ring.
Yeah. Or a piece of wood that you force towards the wood burner.
Incoming! Boom. Says, got to run. We'll watch back later.
Who was that? Sorry. Oh,
Doug Miller. Yeah. And Ian Robertson is suggesting that you wind up with a big napkin ring.
Yes, you do. Yeah, that's it exactly. Which is what you don't really want.
Mark is offering that tool really shifts some material for sure.
And the good thing about, maybe not the good thing, but with the high-speed steel bits that I've got on here, you can actually buy a jig for the Pro Edge to fit the bits into. Where is it? That's it there. So you can buy a jig to fit the bits into, so it's very, very easy to sharpen them. Right, just got to get a bit more cleaned out from this side. Right, I'm not going to go much thinner on this. I have got this crack here that if I go too thin, it'll probably burst apart. So there's just a wee bit more I'm going to take off the side, and then that'll be it.
John PVH says, "Damn, I'm a bit late. I need to take the wife for her birthday lunch. Really?" Baza saying, "Give her."
John, were you asking the other day about putting photographs up of the natural edge bowl when it had warped? Because if you were, I've put some up. I put photographs up yesterday, before and after, and that was just after 2 days of drying.
Baza, in response to John's message, says, "Give her a tenner, John, and send her to Greg's." Blair has a question. How did Thruya come aboard? I'm not quite sure that one. I'm not quite sure on that one. Have another go, Blair. Mark the ratio is
how did something come about?
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be, but I'm not very sure what.
Have another go, Blair. Let's see how we're going. We have Bespoke Creations in the chat. Hi, Bespoke.
No, it wasn't John who asked to see the before and after. God, that's warped. Right, I think that's it for that. Yeah. I've lost my small sanding discs. I'll just the easiest thing to do. Bear with me a wee minute.
Steve Ellis says, "Was me, Wayne. I seen the pics." Steve Ellis says it was him. Seen the pics. The ends have started to curl up and in.
Oh yes, it's well curly.
John PVA says, "Dale, I've started the payment for Scott's lovely bowl. Grand cause to put out for your birthday, I must say." Thanks, John. Much appreciated. Everybody knows somebody. So it's definitely worth giving up any funds towards it. And Mark the Midnight Joker says he's glad he's not the only one that talks to himself.
I did a bit of damage there. So I'll just get my small gouge and fix that. toothbrush down. Yep, that's that fixed.
Everyone watching 32 likes.
Very good.
So, so there are 9 people. You're not sure at this point. You're gonna have to knock it out of the park.
Looks like James let the dogs out.
We finally answered the big question, then, haven't we? Who let the dogs out? Jane.
Yeah, it was Jane. She did it. It's all her fault. Right. Where's me? Bryn's actually caught 2 rats in the past.
Dr. Bob says he loves his remaster system, and he even made a blowing bar adapter I used to keep
Bit of sand and sealer.
Looking great. Wayne says Peter Fuller, he has to leave. He'll catch you next time. Top job, mate.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for coming in.
John PBH says that's a nice ship bow, almost Grecian.
Thank you.
Sounds very thin from here.
No, it's not. It's right up here. I reckon we've got about 6 mil, and actually down at the bottom and the sides, it's fairly thick down at the bottom and the sides. To tell you the truth. I'll just use wood wax 22 on the inside because it's not going to be getting any handle, I wouldn't think. Get rid of any dust off the outside. Now the microcrystalline wax is cured a bit now. So what I can do is just get my small button wheel that goes in the drill. And give it a buff.
Saying, sorry, what's a great earn? Asked Mark, the gentleman wood turner. Lively says about €6 an hour. Great shape, says Colin. Stephen Young says, question, do you prefer the aerosol sanding sealer or the tin?
I prefer the aerosol sand and sealer, to tell you the truth.
Mark says, boom, boom.
It's a
Stephen
myth
Allen.
anyway.
Yeah.
Oh. Have a sit
Tim
down.
Hawkins says he's got to leave. His break's over. He'll catch up later. And he's here all week. Don't forget to try the fish and warn your friends, says Mark.
There you go, guys.
Cool. That's lovely. Yeah, it really does look lovely.
Grain on that. And just around there, you can see all the ripple in it.
Yeah.
As well. Now, if I had used colour on this, I was going to use, like I say, the blue intrinsic colour. The blue intrinsic colour would have popped all that grain everywhere. It would have looked absolutely beautiful. But I think you were right in choosing not to colour it. So there we go.
Looks lovely.
Thank you. So there's another one. Oh, just gone 2 o'clock. Keeping to my usual hour. So any questions before we go?
Always quiet in the western
front. Thank you, John. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Ian. Steve, Rubberdope. I'm sure I've said this before, and it comes up in when people put photographs up and everything like that, and somebody sticks in the comments, gorgeous grain, love the grain. Bloody grain's got bugger all to do with me. I just did the turning.
John asks, are you fabulous, Win?
Yeah, that's me. I'm very humble as well. Thank you, Keith. Where can you get some of that wood? See if you can find a tree surgeon. There's a hell of a lot of ash being brought down at the moment because of disease. And you usually find the olive ash, that tends to be the heartwood of the tree. But see if you can find a tree surgeon. Oh, Mike's in. Hiya, Mike. We're just leaving, Mike. That's okay, Rubber-dub.
Oh, I need to release that one. Realistically, says Baza.
Dr. Bob, why did I start turning? Well, I was in the army for 12 years, from 1974 through to 1986. Mike said, I know that's why I came. Cheers, mate. Yeah, so I was in the army from 74 through to 86. And on leaving the army, I did a pre-release course to help me get back into civilian life. Jane and I had just bought this cottage. It needed some work doing to it. So I did an introduction to the building trades. So it was a bit of brickying, plastering, joinery work. And we were allowed in the joiner's shop, and they had a union graduate lathe there. And stupidly, the tutor let me have a go on it. First thing I ever turned, the first thing I ever turned was a handle for a plasterer's hawk. And then I came home on leave, bought a second-hand lathe that was an old Arundel J14. Bought that, and I've been basically buying and getting rid of lathes ever since. He's saying great demo. Wood was crap. I've started something now.
I feel that one coming back to haunt you in the hangout kind of thing.
Yeah, it will. Right, guys, I'm going to go and grab a spot of lunch.
Me too.
I usually have my lunch before I start, but I didn't today, so I'm going to go and grab a spot of lunch. So I'm going to press the bloody button. Thanks very much for coming along. Oh, Wednesday. What I'm doing on Wednesday is this piece. It's a piece of yew. It's a sculptural piece, so it'll end up standing on a stand in that sort of shape. I've already tested it on the lathe, and it's I think I got up to about 350 revs before the lathe wanted to start taking a walk across the floor. So it should be an interesting one on Wednesday night. And I'm also going to auction off a piece by Caitlin the Cat, Caitlin Davis, to go towards Scott's fundraiser. So I'll be doing that on Wednesday night as well. I don't have the actual piece, but I have got some photographs of it that I'll put on screen. So guys, that's it. I'm off. Thanks for coming in. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will see everyone on Wednesday evening when I'm back again. Oh, Andy's on tonight. Andy Hale, AH Bespoke, is going to be carving some miniature tools out of GPS. Cool. So I'm going to press the button, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.